Hello and welcome to another wonderful episode of Iron Port. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by Serene Insurance, Goil PLC, the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Link, Maritime Port Services Limited, and Phoenix Insurance. Our proud media partner is the Business and Financial Times. Iron Port is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Now, this week we are discussing strengthening the competitiveness of Ghana's logistics and transport sector, and we had in the studios two officials from the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Ghana, CILT, who did justice to this particular subject. Let's take a listen.
So the issue of infrastructure and technology, what role does it play in terms of aiding us to be competitive? I think Mr. Asari mentioned quite a few, but if there are any that would want to, add up.
Interestingly, the sector that we operate in is a sector that goes with huge investment of infrastructure.
Yes.
If you even take three modes, be it maritime, be it road, or be it aviation, they're all capital intensive.
Yes.
Huge in number. So the concentration is, government cannot do it alone. And when you check trends in recent times, you get to know that all that countries in recent times do is they provide a neighboring environment to ensure that key partners comes in to also invest.
Yes.
But what came out so clear within the leaders' gathering is we must be very intentional in whatever collaboration or partnership we build with the private sector so that we don't, in the near future, sell the destinies of the next generation.
Yeah.
So whether any type of policy that we wanted to enter into a private sector, we must be very conscious, deliberate, and intentional so that we don't necessarily sell our birthright, if I may really call. So the sector needs a lot of investment. When you check less than 9-10 years ago, we had the likes of Uber and boats coming into the passenger transportation, and they brought a lot of transparency in pricing.
Yeah.
You pick Uber, you know how much you are going to pay.
Yeah.
They brought a lot of, access.
Yeah.
They brought a lot of situation whereby people can now be at their home, pick it in there. So we have to begin to look at how we can also be innovative with our passenger transportation system, how we can also make sure that they are secure.
Yeah.
How we have to also make sure they are also safe.
Yeah.
Because we should not advance any infrastructure at the expense of safety. Innovation keeps on coming. Strategy keeps on coming. And we have to also begin to see how we could also advance the same thing within, especially the passenger transportation system, so that we can have the best as far as this country is concerned. Sometimes when you travel out of the country and check the best practices there, you get to know that we have a lot of deficits when it comes to this area. But my joy is leaders lead change, and we are all leaders.
Yes.
What we are doing right now, we are leading a small element of change.
Yeah.
So when we dialogue, when we interact, gradually we begin to see those changes in there. So whatever small corner that we find ourselves, we have to make sure that we lead a certain level of change so that Ghana can have the best as far as infrastructure development is concerned.
Right. So in terms of technology, Mr. Asari, let me find out from you, what's your candid opinion? We still seem to have a lot more organizations, both public and private, that kind of like still rely on the manual way of doing things instead of kind of like, if you come to the port sector, I can say to a good measure, we've been able to do well in terms of automation, digitalization, and all that. Are we competitive in that regard?
Yes and no. Yeah, we need to encourage ourselves that we are getting somewhere, but we still have to do a lot more. In terms of technology, yes, paperless port was advocated some time ago.
Yes.
The incomes have been implemented, still going. We rely on the internet connectivity and all of that to streamline custom procedures and that. But you see, there should be a more deliberate effort to roll on almost to the optimum.
Yes.
The private sector, sometimes training, they complain. Government must make conscious effort to make training attractive.
Yes.
Somehow it should be even a condition for licensing practitioners.
Yeah.
Because the world will not wait for us in technology. And our GDP is also dependent on how we fully enroll on technology. digitalization and all of that. Like I've said earlier, most of the people operating in the sector don't have any formal education.
Yes.
If we do that, we'll be making mockery of technology. Now, if we take the road sector, for instance, what do we see? A vehicle traveling all the way to Tamale, are they rest stops? What do we have adequate information about weather and all of that? Do people even know how to access information?
Yes.
Those things are all gaps that we have to fill. Pipeline is another mode of transportation.
Yes.
How many people are aware? So people who are investing into transportation, and then you want to convey gas and oil.
Yes.
You might end up doing a poor investment because of both is developing pipelines to connect Akosombo on Bar to Yape and all of that. So technically, a reduction in the use of vehicles will be there. People must be knowledgeable about this. Otherwise, you do poor investment. No wonder people start businesses and along the line, they get choked. Bible says for lack of knowledge, people perish. And so their businesses also perish. So I think that we shouldn't take a technology issue lightly. We should inculcate and then redesign the school's curriculum. We should be teaching some of these subjects right from primary through tertiary, and then the TVET, vocational institutions. It will help a lot because transport and logistics is the main engine of any economy. And almost all the population have knowledge about that. If you go to advanced countries, the Scandinavian, the literacy rate is almost 80 plus. And no wonder. They know very, very little things. Once you leave your doorstep, you are engaging in a form of logistics. Walking is even part of transportation. So that as a nation, the private sector, the academia, the business community, the churches, they must find 5 minutes on the pulpit to preach something about logistics awareness. And then, of course, the press, the media. You should forget about sensational reporting and all that. People must be awarded on how they can educate the public on logistics matters. I think we'll get somewhere with that.
And I think it was heartwarming to hear that our up-and-coming road toll is now going to be technology-driven. We are yet to see its full implementation. But the truth of the matter, it will have some teething challenges. But technology has come to stay. Machine learning has come to stay. It is penetrating almost all sectors. And transport and logistics is indeed not an exception. So we must have more innovations. If for nothing at all, we could learn from this to online Uber and Boats. How they could simply use innovation and technology to advance the same thing that we do traditionally called transport. So it has come to stay. We have to all see how we could deploy the same technology into our basic day-to-day passenger transportation, into aviation, into railway, and the rest.
Mr. Asari, he mentioned the issue of public-private partnership. You also even mentioned it. And what role can they play to kind of like come together to enhance the efficiency and competitiveness of the sector?
Yes, they have a big role to play. You know, the private sector have a conglomerate of talents. A lot of them have done practical work and they are versed with experience. And we may not get all these people on government payroll. And so they have developed capacity which they are ready to share. If you look at the history of even the port expansion of Takoradi, the company Ibistec, I always admire the resilience of this company. It was the first time a Ghanaian company ventured into capital-intensive area with the Atlantic terminal.
Yes.
And that terminal is doing marvelously well now.
Yeah.
If you take the oil jetty, which is fully automated, it's attracting a lot of cargo and is marketing Takoradi, for that matter, Ghana.
Yes.
So it tells you the role of the private sector. And we are saying that with all the modes of transport, take the port.
Yeah.
We have just seen an example of how the private sector can play a role.
Yes.
If we take the road sector, you will see that the construction of the road, after some few years or months, they deteriorate. A lot of material that makes it quality is not used.
Right.
But sometimes the private sector, because of fear of losing their contracts, they pay more attention. So it is not always the case that the private sector is bad.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, they must be engaged in the early partnership arrangements.
Right.
So that the planning, contract, how to even understand maritime jargon in contract statements is also important.
Right.
So you need key people, well-endowed personnel to come together to look at contracts, risk management, project financing, and all of that.
Right.
Once they get on the same page, you succeed in whatever you do.
Right.
If you take rail, the private sector is important. If you take aviation, they are equally important. The government cannot run all the flights. Now that we have African continental trade, we are looking beyond Ghana so that the private sector can come and partner other Africans. They could come from Kenya. Once the headquarters is here, they will descend here first to do the contact works.
Yes.
And that can really elevate Ghana. Absolutely. And once our ratings go on the Logistics Performance Index by the World Bank, it is the nation that stands to gain. Absolutely. And then it will stabilize our currency and then improve our GDP.
Right. In terms of shipping policy and skills development in the sector, what role is CILT playing?
Ken, thank you. A little addition to what Mr. Asare said in terms of the PPP. I'm quite interested in there because our sector is capital intensive.
Absolutely, it is.
And government cannot do it alone. So you almost always need a private sector to come on board to execute. But what we have to do very well as a country is to indeed undertake value for money.
Right.
Mr. Asare hit a nail right at the head.
Value for money audits.
Yes. Where we have situations whereby roads are constructed and within just shortest possible time, they are all deteriorated. I think we cannot continue this way as a nation, where we invest and within the shortest possible time, we have to come and reinvest on the same stretch of road again. So value for money, as far as any private sector coming on board, must be indeed done and done very well. Because any of the sectors or any of the mode that you take is highly capital intensive, and you must really make sure that you get in there. Now, in terms of, your question was in terms of, is it human capital, our role as CIRT?
Yes.
Is it your question?
Yes.
CIRT has been formidable.
That's shipping policy and skills development.
Yes. We've been very formidable for decades. What we do best as far as CIRT is concerned, we advocate. We don't go around and make noise. We dialogue. We help leaders to reshape their policies. We provide the technical assistance support that is needed because our household have the technical expertise. Our household, our community are highly, highly independent. So we make sure that we provide this cumulative expertise at the disposal of government or any ministry that want to advance a very good cause. Then again, we also provide a human capital because at the end of the day, when we have the infrastructure, you have the systems, you have the innovation. It's human being who's supposed to ensure that we push for that agenda. And what we do best is to provide a human capital. So we don't just provide a human capital in terms of knowledge, but with respect to skills and attitude. If there's any element that we have deficiency in, it has to do with attitude. Because you can put a personnel into a place with challenges, with a positive attitude, is able to transform the same challenges. And we see it from far and near. And you could also put another personnel with their skills, with a certificate, but they cannot deliver. So we don't just provide the knowledge, there must be a skill. There must be the right attitude or the mindset to indeed bring that transformation that we do.
Iron Port returns after this break.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP will feel ya, huh? Will be feel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, streetlights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena. You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serena Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately. There you have it. Serena is not just a tool, it's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Back from the break, now news and activities happening within the port and maritime industry next. Stakeholders in Ghana's maritime industry have been encouraged to adopt alternative dispute resolution (ADR) mechanisms as a viable alternative to prolonged court litigation. This call is in line with the National Integrated Maritime Strategy, which emphasizes the peaceful resolution of disputes arising within the maritime sector. As Africa experiences a surge in intra-African trade, foreign direct investment, and cross-border transactions, there is an increasing demand for dispute resolution methods that are efficient, cost-effective, and culturally appropriate. Speaking at a special induction and graduation ceremony organized by the Center for International Mediators and Arbitrators, CIMA, England and Wales, in collaboration with the Oxfordshire Africa Forum on International Arbitration, CIMA Vice President Dr. Osebonsu Dixon cautioned that continued reliance on maritime litigation could negatively impact the growth and efficiency of the industry. He underscored the need to strengthen the capacity of ADR professionals to ensure timely and effective dispute resolution.
Maritime litigation is not the way most nations seek to resolve disputes. Do not forget again that when we had a problem with Côte d'Ivoire, we resolved it through arbitration. And therefore it's important to strengthen the capacity, the abilities, intellectual fortitude of those who represent the state and also those who represent Ghana in commercial intercourse.
Delivering a keynote address, His Lordship Justice Eric Chebafor, a justice of the Court of Appeal, highlighted CIMA's growing reputation as a globally respected institution for ADR training. He noted that the ceremony marked not only graduation but also the beginning of a professional journey dedicated to promoting justice, equity, and conflict resolution across global communities.
Pursue excellence through specialization. Go deeper, not just wider. The journey of success is one stream with challenges and pitfalls. It is for those who dare to dream.
A total of 46 professionals were awarded certificates marking their formal induction into the field of international mediation and arbitration.
A joint meeting of the Customs Consultative Committee has taken place at the GPHA Towers in Tema, the first such gathering this year, bringing together key players in the port logistics chain to assess port performance and operational challenges. The high-level engagement, held in anticipation of the government's 24-hour economy policy set to begin implementation in July, sought to reflect on the past year's activities and align institutional priorities and operational strategies to ensure seamless facilitation of trade under the new regime. Officials from the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and Meridian Port Services presented data indicating a general improvement in cargo throughput. Both institutions highlighted some developmental initiatives being undertaken to enhance service delivery at the various terminals in the Port of Tema.
Being apprised of these occurrences, the Director General gave the wherewithal for the augmenting of our equipment base, increasing the number and the fleets of trucks for the container evacuation process. We received 15 of those, 15 are pending delivery. We also engaged with customs together with our other collaborators to mitigate the occasional breakdown of the scanners and to find other effective means of facilitating the required inspection in the terminal.
If your container is stopped by customs by one reason or the other, it does not mean you need to stay longer. If you don't think you can finish your formalities of customs, vacate the day. Let another agent be able to use the platform, finish the examination, and go. Because this 3 days at the platform, and if we have average time spent, let's put it at 4 hours, which means that every day at NPS we see 6 trucks a day. If you spend 3 days at the platform, that is 18 trucks that we deny customers of their revenue and deny them the opportunity to make sure that the security is also there.
Customs, for its part, declared its preparedness to support the 24-hour economy policy, assuring stakeholders of continuous clearance operations and enhanced coordination across agencies.
In line with this, I can assure you that Tema Port is well on its way to full preparedness for this 24-hour economy. Significant strides have been made in terms of infrastructure, technology, and human resource deployment to ensure a seamless transition and sustained efficiency around the clock.
The Food and Drugs Authority also used the platform to reiterate the importance of complying with import requirements, particularly the need to register products prior to importation.
We will still engage our stakeholders, especially on our major challenges, falsification of documents, and declared, undeclared, and these are all affects our ability as authority to actually identify the products and bring regulatory compliance to them. And also in line with the government policy on expanding the power of beyond MPS, we are also planning.
The meeting reinforced the need for deeper interagency collaboration and responsive policy planning to maintain Ghana's ports as competitive trade hubs in the sub-region. Following President John Dramani Mahame's announcement that Tema and Takoradi ports will operate 24 hours a day, beginning July 1, 2025, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has initiated consultations with key stakeholders to discuss the effective implementation of this policy. This directive aligns with the government's broader 24-hour economy initiative aimed at enhancing productivity, operational efficiency, and driving national economic growth. GPHA first engaged the Ship Owners and Agents Association of Ghana to assess their readiness for the transition to round-the-clock operations. The director of the Port of Tema, Tibon Zuma, speaking on behalf of GPHA's Director General, Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanya Kulono, confirmed that the authority is prepared and is taking necessary steps to ensure a smooth rollout. He urged all stakeholders to collaborate closely for a successful rollout.
Internally, we've been assessing our strength regarding staff, equipment, all other resources, lightning situations at the terminals and all that. So as ship owners, most of you are involved from the ship side to the shore as well. So we need you to come on board. You have any suggestions to help improve it, we welcome it.
Members of SWAG expressed support for the 24-hour operation policy, emphasizing the importance of addressing any challenges collaboratively to ensure seamless implementation. Additionally, the Port Authority held fruitful discussions with representatives from the freight forwarding sector and the Ghana Union of Traders Association, both of whom expressed optimism about the policy's potential benefits. They noted that the successful adoption of the 24-hour operations will bring significant advantages to the country's trade and logistics landscape.
We want to see improvement in our time of doing business and cost of doing business at the port.
When we kickstart on 1st July, I believe with system, with infrastructure, and with the terminals, we are going to kickstart it and work.
It's also going to increase the traffic of vessels coming here, one. It's going to reduce clearance, because then weekends, you are not working, nights, you are not working. Now, you're going to have your cargoes moving all around these times.
In this meeting, we've seen the readiness of GPHA. We'll be looking at the readiness of the other parties, i.e. the shipping lines, customs, and the rest.
Director of Port Tibon Zuma remained confident that with all stakeholders working together, the 24-hour port operation policy will deliver the desired outcomes and contribute positively to Ghana's economic progress.
We do 24 hours of work at the ship side. So for our pilots, they work round the clock. Vessels can come in at any point in time.
The board chairman of the biggest oil marketing company in Ghana, Goil PLC, Nana Philip Acha, has announced that the company's strategic focus for 2025 will center on embedding innovation, technology, and strong risk governance into its corporate framework. According to him, the board remains steadfast in its commitment to upholding excellence in corporate governance and ethical leadership. He made these remarks at the 56th Annual General Meeting of Goil PLC held in Accra. Reflecting on the past year, Nana Acha acknowledged that 2024 presented considerable global and domestic challenges. However, he emphasized that through disciplined strategy and collective resolve, Goil PLC remained resilient and continued to advance.
Despite the headwinds, Goil delivered a solid performance in 2024. Our consolidated profit rose to 87.7 million Ghana cedis, a 54.82% increase over the previous year.
Speaking on the sidelines of the event to journalists, the Group CEO and Managing Director of Goil PLC, Edward Bauer, outlined key management strategies aimed to enhancing the company's profitability.
We need to be the leading OMC. We need to ensure that we are competitive at the markets. And 3, we must ensure that in the spirit of this green transition, that Goil adapts to the new innovations that are coming.
He affirmed management's dedication to working diligently to improve shareholder margins. It's now time for some international ports and maritime news.
The Northwest Seaport Alliance, NWSA, a port authority in the U.S. Puget Sound region, has announced the completion of shore power at Husky Terminal in Tacoma. On June 15, 2025, the terminal welcomed Hapag-Lloyd's 8,604 TEU Kuala Lumpur Express as its inaugural shore power plug-in. The successful plug-in is seen as a significant step in the NWSA's Northwest Clean Ports Clean Air strategy drive towards emissions reduction throughout its gateway. The Kuala Lumpur Express is part of the new Gemini Corporation in partnership with Maersk, and the 2008-built Hapag-Lloyd vessel was the first to plug in after completion of the commissioning phase.
Now, schedules of vessels in the port, those of Stanko region, those expected in the coming week, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate, you need to know to clear your goods from the port next. We have the phrase of the day next.
Notify party. Company or person who appears on the bill of lading or waybill to be notified when the cargo arrives at destination. Could be different from the consignee, but is often the actual receiver of the goods. A notified party has no particular rights beyond the notification under the bill of lading or waybill.
Let's take a listen to some health and safety tips.
Emergency preparedness. Emergency preparedness plans should be created for emergencies. These plans should include items such as medications, first aid supplies, and evacuation plans for emergencies.
We have your comments next.
Sandra from East Legon says, thanks for highlighting this. Are there any plans to integrate green logistics into our national transport policy? Climate change should be part of this discussion too. Engineer Nate says, good evening, good discussion. There is a need for a maritime development fund where a proper maritime architecture plan can be considered in port development, logistics and transport, infrastructure, warehousing, banking sector, insurance, standard authority, and the energy sector. As an industry, our solution is to first create an awareness for the government to introduce a fund called the Maritime Development Fund, where this fund serves as a capital for development within the maritime space.
So this is where we draw the curtain on this week's episode of Iron Port. Thank you for watching, and thanks to the entire crew. Join us same time next week, and also follow us on our various social media platforms on your screens.